I'm sorry.
Shut up.
I wasn't expecting it.
This the War Report coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric. And the voice of NEW, Vince Perry. Hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out SmackDowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by Tag Me a Date. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here. No safe space. Now listen in. Time to hear from some of the greats. Who am I am King. From the fire burning into the fire. The rest of battle has a been and I am
Like I said before we started, Steve, there were 3 songs I thought you could play.
My drive is limitless. You won't compare to this. I have been chiseled from granite.
This was one of them that I thought you were play.
Well,
the other 2 I guess we'll get to later.
Yeah, we'll get to them. I actually there's quite a number of reasons why I'm starting with Keith Lee. For the most obvious, hello, I'm assuming that's Tara on the screen.
Yes.
But again, it's not showing the name. Tara, hi. There's many reasons why we're starting with Keith Lee. The most significant one that we know is that he is officially All Elite Wrestling, and we can all bask in his glory once again. So for that, I'm very pumped. My gut told me, I told you guys, I was pretty damn sure it was going to be Keith Lee. I think that, and I have some things I want to say, but before we dive into that, the other reason why I thought it was very appropriate, and I'm glad Tara's on, not that I'm surprised, because Tara is, of course, one of our more loyal, if not the most loyal.
Definitely.
I mean, she is.
Absolutely.
So
she's all elite.
Yeah.
The all elite of our podcast.
Here's my thing. A lot of people in the wrestling business, celebrities, all across the board, get millions of tweets a day tagged. They're tagged in them, and you never know if it's them or it's their person, that helps them out or whatever. Very far few in between does one react, and they're only going to really react when it's something that touches them, in the right way. And that just happened to Tara and Keith Lee. And if you didn't have respect for Keith Lee before, you most certainly have to have the utmost respect for him now, because he went out of his way to put a smile on Tara's face, who, not to get into personal things, but has been through a lot in her life, and especially within the last few months. There's been a lot going on, and she's one of the strongest people we know because she's plugging through. And all she did was show appreciation to Keith Lee debuting on AEW, because it was the first time she had a smile on her face since some things have happened.
Since our hard times, Patty.
Yeah, hard times.
And he took the time. You could tell it was him. And he made it something that he can relate with, and let her know that, this is not a one-time thing. Like, I'm going to help you get through your shit, and thank you for supporting me, kind of thing. And that goes a very long way, and you don't get to see it very often. So big shout out to Keith Lee, because he's fucking awesome in the ring. You could tell he's just the nicest guy. And if you want more detail to what I'm talking about, if you go onto Facebook and go to the War Report page, I did share and post the article that was written about Tara and her tweet to Keith Lee and the response. So I think that's awesome. And, go ahead, guys. But that's the main reason why. And then after we address this, I'll come back because I got something else I want to say about this debut of Keith Lee. But and Eddie, if you can hear me, it's not letting me add you in. You may want to log off and go back in. Guys, go ahead. Somebody take it away.
Connected, so
Well,
give it another shot, dude.
The only thing I was going to say is, like, I've known Tara for years, and she's one of the sweetest, nicest people you're ever going to meet. So for him to even just go out there, like, not that, like you said, that we didn't already love Keith Lee and love all this anyway, but for him just even to take the time to do that just was really, really cool. And you could, I mean, we had the separate chat with her and everything and all that stuff. You can feel the response, so that was really, really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, shocking debut of Keith Lee aside, which was, a very positive thing for him to, like Steve said, to find a tweet that somebody sent amongst the thousands that he got that week.
Yep.
Obviously something that she said struck a chord with him, and, he was able to relate, especially because it seems like, the last 2 years between the COVID thing and the after effects, the lingering effects that prevented him from getting back to the ring, the kind of stop and start stuff with WWE. I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine he wasn't in a very good place himself. And now he's in a position where he can be the character that he wants to be. He can truly be the Keith Lee that he wants to present on television. So that and that's it's great that he was able to kind of say all that in one tweet and also, make somebody's day or make their month or make their year. Like that's that's something that you can always talk about with someone. Like if they're a wrestling fan, you're like, oh yeah, you're talking about wrestling. You're like, oh, you like wrestling? Well, Keith Lee, look at this, and you can show him a screenshot and all that. That's such a cool moment for him to take the time and reach out. Really, says a lot about him as not just a performer, but as a person. So yeah, kudos to Keith Lee and Tara making headlines. Next time you tweet at an AEW superstar, could you tag us too? I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
No, he's not.
But if they respond, add it back in the next. Add it in the next response.
Yeah, little
Don't make it the first one. Make it the second response, and then it's okay.
The second plug, not the first plug.
Oh my God! Thank you so much. By the way.
Yeah.
By the way, have you heard of these guys?
Hey, you want to be on this podcast?
The real War Report, not the phonies. Right.
It's like the real Ghostbusters. We kind of talked about this last week, not just with Keith Lee debuting on Dynamite.
Wait, are you about to shift gears away from Keith Lee?
No, I just think it's interesting that we talked about there could be more than one surprise.
Yeah,
true,
and there were. Jay White came out just in a segment, and he made an appearance on Rampage as well.
Am I the only one that's not like overly impressed with him?
If you're not a New Japan, do you follow New Japan? You probably, that's the thing. He was a big deal over there the last couple of years, but hasn't really been able to show. He hasn't been able to wrestle in New Japan because he moved to Florida and right before the pandemic, and that messed everything up for him. He can't go back to Japan without quarantining. He can't come back here without quarantining on the return trip. So it's just inconvenient for him. He's been performing on New Japan Strong out in California because you don't have to quarantine for 2 weeks when you travel interstate. So he's still doing that. He's working on Impact now. He inducted Chris Bay from Impact into the Bullet Club. He brought the Gorillas of Destiny in to fight the Good Brothers, and now he's on AEW. So I don't know if it seems like maybe they're going to finally pull the trigger on this Bullet Club versus the Elite thing. We'll get into the other thing because It can't be the Bullet Club and the Elite, and we're missing one of the Elite. But we'll get to that later.
Well,
get to that later.
Here, I got to get this out first before
we get into any of the other, because this has been a wild 12 or 16 or 18 hours of wrestling news.
Well, and finally, shit broke on the day that we're actually on, which is very rare.
Yeah,
but
I should refresh my phone. There might be breaking news in the middle of our podcast.
It's very possible, but
it'll be Cody, the thing we're gonna get into.
You better be on that, intern, to make sure that all that shit's up to date.
Oh man.
Here's what I want to get off of my chest before we dive into anything else, and it still pertains to the debut of the Limitless One, Keith Lee.
Yes.
And I've said this many times before, even when he was in WWE, and it's really starting to piss me off because I'm still fucking saying the same thing.
What's that?
And I really don't like repeating myself. So it's really getting me fired up, Vince, because there are still these fucking troll assholes on social media that are shitting on his debut because they think he was too fat and, he didn't have, a shirt on and anything else. So for the last fucking time, the allure, the attraction of Keith fucking Lee is the fact that he is a big motherfucker and does shit that cruiserweights can do. Right? Things that he should never be able to do. So I'm getting so fucking tired of it. Shut the fuck up. Be happy that he's where they're going to use him.
Yeah.
I am telling you right now, before the end of 2022, he is AEW World Heavyweight Champion.
Whoa. Bold.
I'm saying that right now. I am done with that rant. But
that's the whole attraction of Keith Lee. You're right. He's a big guy. Not only does he do the things that he shouldn't be able to do, top rope things and dives and all that stuff, he also does the big guy stuff as good or better than a lot of the other big guys. Like, first of all, Isaiah Cassidy did a very, very good job in that match against Keith Lee.
Oh, definitely.
Isaiah Cassidy, even like Punk was talking about him on Twitter afterwards. The guy, everybody's talking about him on Twitter afterwards internally within AEW about how every time he's out there, he seems to get better. So huge deal for him. He got put in a marquee spot and did a really good job. But also Keith Lee, holy shit, took him and flung him in the air about 70 feet. And like the kid almost landed in the third row. It was amazing. So these are things that nobody else does. Nobody does that. So yeah, and maybe he's fat. And that was the whole. You can tell who says he's fat and where their interests lie and which company they prefer to watch, because that was the company line when he was with WWE, and that was why they changed his gear to that zip up front thing, like MVP wears. And they made MVP wear that because he's got a bunch of tattoos that he got when he was in prison that are kind of Black Panther-y, for lack of a better phrase. So rather than show his prison tattoos, they made him wear that jumpsuit. They did the same thing to Keith Lee. They figured they could zip him up in that jumpsuit and nobody would notice that he was 400 pounds. Listen, he's a big guy. That's the whole fucking point. And if you notice, he unzipped or took off his fucking jacket before the match, and he looked right in the camera when he did it like, yep, I'm wrestling without a shirt on. Like, this is where that's what I want to do.
Like, sup.
He did. He almost like rubbed himself. Was like, hey, yeah, look at this. He was like, yeah, you get a piece of me. And
Not to make fun of him, it remind me of Fat Bastard from Austin Powers. You think I'm sexy?
Oh, yeah. But here's the fucking deal, dude. A lot of the people that say that wear a t-shirt when they go in the pool. Like, if you're talking about Keith Lee, what the fuck have you done where you're outside with no shirt on? Like,
it's just mind-blowing. It's just mind-blowing to me that these people are saying this shit after watching what he did in his debut. Well, he was spectacular.
They didn't watch. That's how you know they didn't watch. They saw a screenshot. They saw a GIF.
True.
And they just assumed whatever. Oh, look, he's out of shape. Oh, he's bigger than he is, so he must be out of shape. Or bigger than he was, so he must be out of shape. It's obvious who doesn't watch the program and is only commenting on stuff to
The
troll
difference in
on
weight was
AEW.
only 6 pounds, by the way.
I mean, I didn't even know. Like,
no, but I'm just saying, because I checked the numbers after the whole thing came in.
Right.
They ringed him in at 384, I think they said. He was in the 370s in his last match as Bearcat.
yeah, I didn't even. I couldn't even tell. Like, whatever. It's just, when somebody's over 300 pounds, is there a real? Does 10 pounds make a difference? I didn't even notice.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
that
not
was
the
the last thing
1,000-pound
I was
sisters or
thinking.
anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, shit, it was like Yokozuna. Every time they said he got bigger, it's like, how much bigger can he fucking get? I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, you could see the difference at the end, though.
Oh, yes, because he could barely move, poor guy.
That was way different than like 7 to 10
right.
pounds on Keith Lee.
But that's what they're trying to, like, that's the comparison people are making right now. Are like, oh, he's so big, he's out of shape. And it's like, I don't fucking know, dude. Maybe he just ate a lot of cake at his wedding.
I know a lot of people that weigh a lot less than him that couldn't do the stamina that he held up in the ring.
Exactly. Hey, you know who else is like 380 pounds? Like half of the roster of the guys that played in the Super Bowl on Sunday.
Yeah.
So, shit. Anyway,
Who cares
big
about the Super
debut.
Bowl?
Yeah, Keith Lee. Oh, speaking of, The Rock made his Super Bowl appearance.
Well, now listen, if you're going to jump to that, then we should also talk about that there was
where do we go? I mean, there's so much.
Well,
you
you
just to talk about.
You just fucking opened up Pandora's box with The Rock.
Oh shit! I got put this going on the screen. Hold on a second. Look at this guy. Good day nonsense, and it's fucking Norman Smiley. Now I know it's not the real Norman Smiley.
That is awesome.
Goddamn, do I love the big wiggle? So shout out to you, Norman Smiley.
And thank you for checking this out.
Yeah, on YouTube, no less. Thank you.
But here's so you kind of opened up that box, so I want to touch on that because there was an interview done with The Rock where the person was talking about his epic open to the Super Bowl, and it kind of left more, like,
well,
and
here's the deal. He said the millions and then didn't stop for the whole arena to go and millions. Like,
yep.
Well, apparently he said, don't
reason.
worry, there's a reason for that, and it's coming. So maybe we are going to get Roman sooner than we think.
That's the theme of the night, ladies and gentlemen. WWE has finally decided to take AEW seriously. They haven't sold out either night of WrestleMania, and they are in let's spend a bunch of fucking money mode. So we're going to talk about
and
not
only that, but I have to jump to this now. What do you guys think? Is this really going to happen? Because if it does, I'm going to go fucking nuts. I mean, are we actually going to listen? If you watch what they're doing with Kevin Owens right now and doing this whole thing about shitting on Texas, and he lied and he hates Texas, and if Texas was a body part, it would be an ass, and like all this shit. So that's Austin's, and then they're saying that you're probably not even going to be a part of WrestleMania. Yeah, okay, this is Kevin fucking Owens. So it makes sense. Is Austin ready to make a return and come back?
So a few things. Back in at least 2019, maybe earlier. Yeah, actually probably was even earlier. Yeah. He was technically cleared around the time that they were teasing that CM Punk thing. He decided not to do it, unfortunately.
Well, because he doesn't. I mean, listen, he's very lucky. All shit aside, he's very lucky. That could have, he could have been paralyzed from that pile driver, and thank God it wasn't that. But at the end of the day, you can't say it wasn't that serious. It was serious. It was pretty much career ending for him.
For anybody else, it's career ending. Yeah.
But we also see people like Edge, and we see Corey Graves now, and we see, Lita, and I mean, so, I mean,
Stone Cold's been cleared since maybe 2013 or 2014, and it's just never.
Maybe he just felt It's not until the time's right. Maybe he feels a certain way about Kevin Owens. The fact that it's going to be in Texas.
The man has no cartilage in his knees, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that, as exciting as Stone Cold return,
it would have to be a no holds barred type of match, so that you're not going to get much wrestling,
right?
You know what I mean?
The problem I have in my head is when Bret Hart returned and had that really sad match. When Shawn Michaels returned after he said he would never return, and had
here's the difference.
Terrible match.
Here's the difference. I know where you're going. Here's the difference. If you've listened to Austin, I firmly believe, no matter what kind of money Vince McMahon is throwing his way, potentially, if he felt that he would come back and leave the wrong lasting impression with the world, he wouldn't do it. I feel like unless he knows that he can actually put on a good match and entertain everybody and not look like he's not the Austin of old, I don't think he would come back. That's just my opinion. I could be very wrong, but maybe he needs the money. But
that's a fair answer. But the medical issues that he has doesn't secure that that's going to happen. Sting was in good condition when he got in the ring with Seth Rollins.
Yeah, up until about 15 minutes later.
You know what, though? But we don't really know at this point what Austin's actually state is, because it's all speculation. We haven't – it's not like he's come out and said, look, here's all my paperwork. I mean, we don't really know. But and technology and advancements, who knows?
Technology's jumped a lot, especially in relation to those kind of issues. I mean, even people – so this stem cell stuff is obviously legit. It's helped a lot of people, and it's not just like – the neck stuff. We've seen Kevin Nash went overseas and got this treatment, and a guy who had barely any musculature or any ligaments left in his leg from basketball injuries. He took a picture of it and compared pre-surgery to post-surgery and post-rehab. And it's, what you're looking for your legs is symmetry, which means that your muscles are working at the same amount of time. Yeah. He had barely any muscle in one of his legs due to those injuries. His quadriceps, his calves were all skinny, which is why he wore long pants when he wrestled. Now, in his 50s, 60s, Kevin Nash, his knee and his leg is healthier now than it was when he was in his 30s. And that's because of the advances in technology that we've had. So it is it's amazing stuff. The question I have, though, if we don't, it's got to be a short match, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, something like under 10 minutes. If Austin comes back and loses, then Austin comes back after 19 years and loses. If Austin wins, it's Kevin Owens couldn't beat a guy who came back after 19 years. Yeah. It's
Austin.
Oh, I don't know who. I know it's Austin, but I don't know who. It seems like it's something just to.
You got to figure Austin has a lot of respect for Owens because he let Owens use the stunner. Yeah. That in itself is a big deal.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think there is probably a lot of respect there. And, the guy's a hard worker. He just signed a new contract. Kevin Owens, that is. So they got to give him a big match for WrestleMania if they sign to a big deal. Yeah. I don't know. No bigger match for him. We were talking about it earlier that it seemed like before this whole Texas thing came up that they were aiming toward Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens, which I think would be a fantastic match, work rate wise.
100%, especially because Rollins is technically somewhat face right now in a weird way.
But at the same time, this is the WWE where it's not about the work rate match. It's about what's going to put the butts in the seats. This is an entertainment business after all. Stone Cold is probably going to put more butts in the seat than Seth Rollins and Kevin.
Without question.
Just on name recognition alone. So no, there's a larger subset of people who are not thinking as deeply about it as a hardcore wrestling fan would, where they're just like, oh, Stone Cold's going to wrestle again. Where we're like, oh, Stone Cold's going to go out there and his knees are going to explode like that time Kyle got his dad's testicles putting his knees on South Park. Long story. He tried to slam
moments I'm glad I don't watch South Park.
The knees explode. It was gross. Anyway, you have to be like a guy in his mid-30s to understand that reference. But I just don't want to. I don't
Again,
want to see
thank God.
Austin go out there. And I know, as you said, Steve, he wouldn't go out there if he didn't think he could do it.
Yeah.
But there's a little piece of me that goes, everybody's got a fucking and we'll talk about this later. Everybody's got a price, and he's like, you know what? I don't care if I'm missing a leg. I'll hobble my ass out there and get a WrestleMania match out of Kevin Owens if it means I'm gonna get $1 million or whatever. They're throwing a lot of money at Steve Austin for this match, no doubt.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a part where you go, you know what? I might not be healthy enough to work this match for $250,000. But if you up that, you know, every time they up the offer, you feel
Guys,
a little bit better.
I gotta go. Keep going. I'll keep everything on. I'll talk to you later.
All right, man. All right. So I don't know what happened. I'm sure he'll send us a message to clarify. Hope everything's okay with Steve.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Stone Cold thing threw me for a loop, and then just the next 12 hours after that continued to throw me for even more loops. So this has been a day of refreshing the goddamn Wrestling Observer like all day. You got what do you guys? So anything else about Stone Cold in this potential match with Kevin Owens? You know, any kind of thoughts on that?
I'm just disappointed. Go on, Kat.
No, go ahead, Ryan. You're good, sweetie.
I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get the Punk match.
Oh,
Like,
well, yeah, we're all
as
going to be
much
disappointed
as
about that.
I want to see him back against Owens. There's really no history.
Right. It doesn't seem like there was
There's anything other than him tearing into Texas.
Exactly. Kat, what were you going to say?
The only thing I'm going to say is, like, I got to really pretty much agree with you on that I'm on the fence about that. Like you said, this can't go more than 10 minutes. A Stone Cold Steve Austin match going 10 minutes is kind of like, really? He doesn't normally get into the match until 15, 20 minutes.
Right.
So that's going to be kind of dead. So that's going to be like, what, a whole 10 minutes of Kevin Owens showcasing for then what? Just for him to get a stunner in and a pin? I just don't see how this is storyline wise. I can see this working 100%. Wrestling wise, it makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah. It's just weird. Like, it's conflicting because as somebody who watched Stone Cold in his prime,
Exactly.
I'm all for a Stone Cold return. I thought when he first walked off that time that they were putting JR's job on the line, and Stone Cold had to wrestle Brock Lesnar. First was Brock Lesnar, King of the Ring qualifier on TV, not on pay-per-view, and then they wanted Stone Cold to wrestle.
Wasn't it Eddie?
No, I'm sorry, this is going to sound really bad. Who's the commentator? Who's the bald guy, African-American guy?
Oh, Jesus.
Back in the day.
Jonathan Coachman.
Jonathan
John
Coachman. So there was a stipulation where Stone Cold had to wrestle Jonathan Coachman with JR's job on the line, and then they told Stone Cold, like, that day he was going to lose, and he's like, I'm not losing to Jonathan fucking Coachman, and just, like, told them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I know they had this really good match, The Rock and Stone Cold. That was like their dual kind of retirement match. Like it was their swan song kind of match.
Yeah.
And it was a nice ending. You know, their two biggest rivals on the biggest stage, and it kind of was a definitive end to Stone Cold's career. But I don't know. I never really felt like he didn't get the send-off that Ric Flair or Shawn Michaels got, which I thought was always a little weird. Maybe because they always thought he was going to come back.
I was going to say, I don't think they anticipated this to be forever.
Yeah, and it ended up being 19 years. So, yeah, dude, the whole thing is real weird. It makes me happy to hear Stone Cold wants to wrestle again, but then it opens the door to all these other questions.
Yeah.
It's scary sometimes when some of these guys come back like that, though, too.
Oh, sorry, not to interrupt. Buff Bagwell last week on Twitter goes, I want to wrestle in a death match.
Yep.
Buff, with the way you look right now, any match is a death match. Like, what the fuck?
I don't mean to laugh at him.
He looks like fucking Joe Exotic right now.
Right, yeah. Like he's going to have a death match with Carol Baskins in a tiger pit. I would be into it, but also like, what the fuck?
With the sardine oil?
Yes, sardine oil wrestling.
God, that's something Vince Russo never came up with.
Bro, you're not gonna believe it, bro. We're gonna have tigers in sardine oil, bro. It's gonna be a big swerve. And then Brian Knobbs is gonna come in and fuck the tiger.
But this is where we
Now
get
that
the
was
real
nasty.
Instead
Yeah.
of oil, one of the cans has
Jerry Sags is gonna give Pity City to the tiger while Jerry Knobbs is fucking it.
Oh my god, a pit stop. Oh my
This
god.
is what happens when Steve leaves the show. Anyway,
Yeah.
speaking of speaking of throwing money at people, because apparently WWE's trying to get The Rock back. He's teasing like he's coming back. They're making overtures to Stone Cold for a lot of money to come back and wrestle Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. The biggest news that dropped at like 9 o'clock this morning, Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes are no longer contracted to All Elite Wrestling in any capacity, which means that no longer are they on-screen talent. They've also resigned their positions as Executive Vice President for Cody and Chief Brand Officer for Brandy. They are free agents in every sense of the word. And the speculation is that WWE is going to reach out to him, or has already reached out, and may have made a deal or is in the process of making a deal. But this is another person who, if they're going away, like if Cody and Brandy are leaving AEW, Vince has to be backing up the Brinks truck to their house. Like, you know, it's got to be a disgusting amount of money for Cody to do that.
TMZ is also reporting now also that there are lawyers involved between Tony Khan and Cody and Brandy.
Yeah, they had to I think they had to get lawyers involved because they were executives and not just talent. Like if they were just talent, their talent contracts expired. There was nothing.
Yeah, but this is apparently now becoming more in the last 2 hours that it was a major falling out between them.
Yeah, well, so here's what I from everything that I can understand about this situation. Of course, some of this will be picked from Wrestling Observer Live, so you might hear some repeat information if you listen to Wrestling Observer Live, which is a good place to listen because despite how people might feel about Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer, all those guys, they know what they're talking about and they get sources. Yep. So there is a pay structure. Right. Yeah. Right. I mean, listen, Sean Ross Sapp and Ryan Satin get some of their stuff from WWE. Andrew Zarian, who works for Meltzer, gets stuff from WWE all the time. So it's just a way to get these journalists are a way to get your sources out or to get your information out via like anonymous sources rather. So anyway, there's a pay structure, a salary structure that's been set up for AEW, different tiers. There's even a tier 0, which is the pay per appearance contract. Yeah. So there's tier 0, tier 1 is a full-time, and so on from there.
Okay.
From everything I've understood, Cody Rhodes' contract expired in December. They were negotiating, and I guess AEW felt they were close to a deal. Cody may have felt they were close to a deal at one point, but has decided to ask for more money. And again, there's no confirmation that any of this is true, but from what it sounds like, Cody, upon his contract discussions, wanted to make money in the league of like CM Punk and Daniel Bryan because those guys are at whatever the top of the structure of their salary structure was. The Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Cody were at the top for 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. These new guys came in. I say new. Big stars coming in, Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. No argument, regardless of how I don't like, listen, I didn't like Daniel Bryan. Bryan Danielson's fucking great. Daniel Bryan I didn't like that. Anyway, regardless of how I felt about Daniel Bryan coming in, big star, main evented WrestleMania. CM Punk, huge star, held the world title for 434 days. There's a reason they were making that much more money because AEW saw the value in bringing them in, and you see it reflected in the ratings. The ratings are now closer to every week. If they're not 950,000, it's 1 million, it's 1.1, 1.2 million. So there was a value in bringing these guys in. Christian was another one that probably went to the top of the scale. So Cody wanted his piece of the pie, and I understand that, but at the same time, as a Cody fan, you also have to be objective here. If you
Yeah.
say to a wrestling fan, who's the bigger star, CM Punk or Cody Rhodes? They're going to go CM Punk.
Yeah, there's no comparison.
So
no offense to Cody.
when Cody Rhodes asked for CM Punk money, it's an awkward position because Cody helped found this company. He was the first guy when Dave Meltzer said no independent promotion could sell out a 10,000 seat arena. Cody Rhodes said, "I'll take that bet, Dave." And then they had All In. Like, it was directly from a Cody Rhodes tweet that this whole thing trickled down into AEW. So to see him leave,
it's crazy.
It makes me feel weird because all of this stuff about smashing the throne and pulling out that golden shovel and looking like he's going to hit people with the pedigree and talking about, all this stuff that he talked about, like he was doing all these shoot promos and saying all this stuff about WWE and building something yourself and doing the work and all this stuff just to go back to the company that you quit because you hated it, to the company that right now just fired 200 people over the last 2 years, to a company that's holding Ali hostage, to a company that's going over to Saudi Arabia where they actively execute people for being homosexual. What the it doesn't sound like the Cody Rhodes that I knew or I thought I knew from working with him and seeing him on TV to just, for lack of a better term, and I'm going to sound like such a fucking hippie, like a sellout, man. That's some sellout shit. And I understand you got to get your bag and you got to secure your money and make sure your family is set. And if they offered a lot of money, listen, I would probably take it too. I'm a hypocrite. What I can say right now, from a standpoint of artist versus profit, what's more important, you're creating art or making money. Cody Rhodes was always very much about making art through wrestling. Yeah. And now it seems like Cody Rhodes is very much about making money because I think he sees, like, he just had a kid and he said his whole perspective changed. I think he sees the finish line. He's like, if I got to dress like Stardust and chase around the 24/7 title and they're going to pay me $5 million, I'll just fucking do it and then retire. But it also just seems like it's a deflating thing as a fan of independent wrestling, as a fan of AEW, as somebody who really wanted to see people break away from the machine of corporate WWE booking and the same stale stuff that they've been putting on for the last 20 years. And we finally have an alternative. And one of the names behind that alternative is Cody Rhodes, who has a legacy of a family that's been legendary in this business with his brother and his father.
That's just it.
And he just walks away. And he just walks away. Like, I understand he wanted to make more money, but that's like Tom Brady is not, and not that I love Tom Brady. Let it be known, I do not like Tom Brady. But Tom Brady, in order to help both the New England Patriots and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win championships, you know what Tom Brady did? He took a pay cut because he would make less money on his contract while he got other brand deals and sponsorships with Nike or UGG boots or whatever else he did. He took less money so that the corporation, the franchise, could sign more people. And he understood it wasn't just about, you didn't just need a quarterback. There were 10 other guys on that side of the ball with you. You needed receivers and linemen and everything else. So we understood by taking less money, he was actually improving his team as a whole, which would then improve his position to that level. And I don't know, dude. It's real disappointing to see somebody who I thought was like really a do-it-yourself, pick you up by your bootstraps, we're going to build this company from the ground up, brick by brick kind of guy, just go, you know what? I'm going to take the easy payday. Me and Shinsuke Nakamura are going to go sit in catering and pick up our paychecks. Like,
right?
AEW market. No, I mean, listen, this is strictly as somebody, as an artist, as a performer, as an entertainer.
Yep.
There's always that pull between creating the art that you want to create and taking an easy paycheck and going with a corporation. And a lot of artists don't do that. And even though they make less money, they are more fulfilled because they get to do things their way. So it's hard.
He's becoming the Nickelback of professional wrestling.
Here's how you remind me.
And they say that a hero can save.
Oh my God! What if he came out to that music?
Oh, he came out to that
Stardust
With
swinging on a
saliva.
rope. Like
What was the lead
Spider-Man.
singer's name? Was Saliva? Oh my god, I'd be in my glory.
Oh, with a Spider-Man-esque.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm thinking the
Stardust costume.
Chad Kroger singing
Chad
at
Kroger
WrestleMania.
and the guy from Saliva. Yep.
Like I'm picturing Chad Kroger singing on stage, and Cody swings in like a Spider-Man themed Stardust costume.
And they're watching us.
Right? Yeah.
As we all fly away. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like
Brady
right at
comes
the
out
end,
with
he
the
goes,
lighter.
and a hero, and he does the hand thing right when it says hero. He goes, and a hero, and the pyro goes
Okay.
off, and it's all star shaped.
Vince, remember we said we were going to record a song together? That's what we're freaking recording now. I hold on to the wings of a hero. Yeah, we got this.
Oh
I
my
probably
God.
would die.
I think everybody who's listening has tuned out because we've just gone off the rails. But
That's okay.
all right.
That's where we need Steve to say, moving right along.
Yeah, I know, but this Cody thing is kind of a big deal, dude. I just
It's insulting.
you know, and I hate to go into that. I don't want to overreact, but also we're on a podcast. And we have to.
You don't want to
entertain people,
underreact
but,
as well.
dude, it seems so silly to
We can't
walk
end
away
up in
from
Facebook jail for this, so it's
right,
okay.
but it just seems silly to walk away from a company that you founded.
Yep.
Over like honestly, it's the same thing. Like whenever I hear about like somebody from Major League Baseball or somebody from the NFL, they're sitting out there at training camp because they want more money. These are millionaires talking about making millions of more dollars. I could care less. You've already made more money in your life right now than I will ever make. So
you made more money in that year than I will make.
Right. It's not at one point. It can't be about the money. There's a certain point where you and your kids and your kids' kids are set for life. And if Cody's not there yet, what I got to know what he's spending his money on.
Not only that, but we also know for a fact, or at least maybe now because so many things have changed because of the pandemic, but WWE contracts, you basically have to sign away to like 355 days out of the year.
Right.
So if they're both obligating, I'm assuming Brandy's going to with him.
Yeah, I would guess so.
You're obligating yourself now to an even bigger contract than you did with AEW. Time-wise. So if this is about your child or your family, you just totally changed that mold completely because you're either taking that baby on the road with you or you're not seeing that kid.
I mean, the other thing could be that
and then there goes that show now too, right after it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. They have to get a new host for the Go Big show. Not that they couldn't. They've already replaced T-Pain with another host.
Well, not even the Go Big show, like the Rhodes one. Like the Keeping Up with
Rhodes
the Rhodes or whatever the fuck it's called. Yeah.
Rhodes to the Top, which was,
there you go.
I guess, was supposed to be filming a second season. So that's not going to happen now.
That'd be real awkward if they started
there was
doing
supposed to be a whole.
stuff.
Yeah, that would be really. But there was supposed
that
to be
would be a fantastic episode, though. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
What if they do it anyway? They put up the 6 episodes, and the last one is him leaving.
Right, like the whole Bret Hart, Vince McMahon, Montreal Screwjob.
Yeah. Oh, it could be
the microphones in the
shadows,
background.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be fucking epic.
But dude, it's so weird, and I can't imagine. And where's
sorry, like it was stupid. I mean, I know Ryan, you and I were talking about it. It was a horrible segment, but Brandy kept up her own last week in that segment that she had with what's his name? I always call him the coach.
And
thank you.
Yeah,
he freaking reminds me of Mr. Perfect's manager, the coach. But
like just being able to keep the promo going with people saying, shut the fuck up.
What the fuck was the point of trying to build? Because this wasn't just a surprise that happened this morning. We all, this has been in the works for a couple of weeks. It's been in the pipeline and whatever, we all even thought originally he may have been a forbidden door at the Rumble. So this has been going. So why start her in a whole brand new storyline? Like,
I think they were operating under the assumption that they were gonna renew.
Yeah.
But that was 3 weeks ago, the renewal that it was when his free agent came up prior to the Royal Rumble.
It came up at the end of December, yeah.
Yeah, it came up prior to the Rumble. And the reason that he didn't sign it then was because he was recovering from COVID. Okay.
Yeah.
I get that. But now, maybe I don't. Yeah. But now we're still going now a couple of weeks later. And you cut her at a promo with a new storyline with what's her name and everything, because that actually wasn't that terrible. The altercation part.
Right. No, that was
makes no sense.
I want to say Cody was operating without a contract for 6 weeks.
Yeah, he said he was on a handshake deal. I mean, if you look at it, a lot of the stuff. But here's the problem. Cody, this is pro wrestling. Cody's a worker. Anything he says, you have to take with a grain of salt because there's a chance it's not true. There's actually a very good chance it's not 100% true. There's always some sort of gray area when a wrestler says something about their contract.
Yeah, there's some creative liberty he could be taking.
Exactly. But if we look back at his promos leading up to putting over Sammy, which was, if he really wasn't under contract, it was nice of him to put over Sammy.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
He didn't have to. He could have just fucked off, and then they had the interim champion become the regular champion. They just say it was COVID, but whatever. No
one's saying he's not a class dude. It just is out of character for him.
Yeah, all of this seems so out of like it makes you question: is this Cody? Yeah, but the contract stuff. So he said, "Oh, I'm on a handshake deal," and we're like, "Okay, yeah, sure, you're on a handshake deal." And then he's like, somebody told me not to cut this promo or to save this promo. Like, I thought it was really weird, especially when he said, save this promo, as in save it for later. But the way Cody says is like, there's not going to be a later. And then at one point at the end of the promo, he says, we're going to go on a ride like you've never seen, and I want you to take the ride with me. This is almost like when Dean Ambrose, they had that Shield final curtain call special. And Dean Ambrose was like, I have to cash in all my chips and I'm leaving the casino and all that. And it was an allusion to him showing up at All In. Like, was Cody's last AEW promo dropping breadcrumbs of a hint that he was going to, like, he knew back then he was going to WWE, and that promo just had little seeds leading you, to that assumption?
Correct me if I'm wrong, too. He will be the first wrestler to cross back from AEW to WWE.
Yeah, I think, who is that? I think technically Cora Jade is like the first person to sign from AEW back to to WWE.
Okay, but in the top tiers, then. No offense to Cora Jade, but like major mainstream.
The only one he would be the biggest name. Because like they signed up a couple developmental people, WWE did. Yeah. One was a kid that needed his green card to work for AEW, but instead they offered him a spot at NXT UK so he could just stay in the his country of origin and still work. So they poached some underneath talent, but no, there's no main event talent that has left AEW to go right to WWE, especially now because this was an end of a contract.
Yeah.
December was the end of a contract, which means that there's no 90-day stipulation. There's none of that. He can
just end up in Saudi Arabia.
Go. Right. He can end up in Saudi Arabia. He can end up on SmackDown. He can, who knows?
That's true. He theoretically could show up. Well, he can't show up this Friday because it was taped. Never mind.
Right. This Friday was taped, but he could show up in Saudi Arabia. He could show up.
They could tape something and slide it in.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a little awkward for something.
This whole thing is just it's so strange because I don't know, man. I don't know how many times how many ways I can phrase how odd this is that somebody built a company
to leave it,
but also to go back to the company that he left WWE because he didn't like it, and he's like Bender. He's like, screw you guys. I'll start my own wrestling company with blackjack and hookers. And he did it. But then he went back. It doesn't make it. It just.
Well, he's like Bender. He went back.
Yeah. Right. It's just, I hate to say going back on the plantation, but that's what it almost feels like. Like, God damn, dude. Like,
I mean, how many times did Bender quit in Futurama and come back?
Well, he's not coming back for the newest one. I don't know if you heard.
I'm sure they're going to recast. There's no way.
John DiMaggio not coming back for
Vince Ryan. I'm sorry. Someone wants you to acknowledge that her birthday's on Thursday.
Oh my goodness! Happy birthday!
How old are you going to be?
Yeah, I was just going to ask.
6.
Mm-hmm. 6. Yeah, 6. Oh so my God!
Not 6 comes 7.
Then after 6 comes 7. Yes, thank you very much. I know that.
6
I
is
didn't
afraid
know
of
that.
7 because 7, 8, 9.
What is 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9. Yeah.
Damn, dude.
I got
like, this
all
has
the
been a
kid jokes
weird
here.
day,
Trust
man.
me. She fucking tells me. She fucking tells me yesterday, Mommy, what did the snail say on the turtle's back? I go, what? She goes, woohoo! It's like, oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
So let's watch Finding Nemo a little too much.
This is the one, but is this also the one that watches the horror movies?
No, that's Rosie. That's the baby. That was Gabby.
No.
Right?
What happened?
That was
All
Gabby.
of your
That was
children
just
were
in here.
small. All of your children were small at one point, and
Yes.
now they're not.
Gabby was 6 months old when I
Especially
started.
the one behind you right now.
I'm 13 now.
That's illegal.
Yeah, no,
Those
Gabby,
of you
come
who've
here.
been watching, if you've been watching the podcast,
This
listen to the
this is the
you
baby.
will know.
Hi, baby.
No.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah. This is the little one that used to walk around in the diapers. Yeah.
I just
I
sprouted,
feel your
like,
sentiment. Vince.
I just grew more gray hair.
Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
I think I got my
Right.
first gray hair from that.
Wait, hang on. Here's the horror movie queen. She's
Oh,
gonna
yes.
be 10.
No.
Yep. Yep.
I
Okay, now
want,
everybody
you
up.
know,
I start high school soon.
Yeah, this one's
And I
gonna.
start middle school soon.
well, that
This
one,
one's gonna.
yeah, I mean, so listen, we've talked about this before, but you know, we've got a few potential pro wrestlers in that house. Yeah, I'm really
Wait,
looking
here comes
forward.
the other one.
Oh yes.
Actually, pro basketball player. Get it right.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, but then you'd be like Jade, be a pro basketball player and then be a wrestler.
Yeah. So let's see.
I mean, wasn't Nash started as a basketball player?
A lot of
Yes.
people, yeah, Nash started as a basketball player.
Yeah. So he's 7 now. Gabby will be 6 on Thursday.
Oh my
Rosie will be 10 in July, and Autumn will be 14 in September.
God. Jeez.
Yeah.
So speaking of her being 14, I don't know if you heard this over the weekend, but the wrestler Nick Wayne, who is 16 years old, signed what they're calling an apprenticeship contract or a futures contract with AEW. Nick Wayne, son of the late Buddy Wayne. Buddy Wayne is a Pacific Northwest wrestler who trained, I mean, anybody that came through the Pacific Northwest worked with or trained with Buddy Wayne. Daniel Bryan holds him in very high regard. Brian Alvarez of Wrestling Observer holds him in very high regard. Buddy Wayne unfortunately passed away of a heart attack a few years ago, but his son, Nick, started wrestling at like 8 or 9 years old. He's 16 years old now. He's very good. I watched a match of his against Joey Janela on YouTube from like I think it was like late 2021. Very good match. Nick Wayne wrestled Christopher Daniels at Defy Wrestling over the weekend in Seattle, and after the match, which Christopher Daniels won, but after the match, Darby Allin's music plays. Darby Allin comes out, who also trained with Buddy Wayne, who's known Nick for his whole life pretty much, offers him an AEW contract. Obviously being 16, his mother had to sign it with him as the power of attorney, yada, yada. The expectation is that he finishes high school and turns 18. And once he has, turned 18 and has that diploma in his hand, he can be an AEW talent.
That's
And
crazy.
not only is that such a cool thing for him, it's something to, like, if you're 13 or 14 and you're a wrestling fan, I can do, you know what I mean? It's not impossible. You can train and be a wrestler.
It's a feasible task now.
Yeah.
She's been all over this since she heard about it.
It's great. And it's just so nice to see, because Nick, I've watched him wrestle now, and you can see he's at a level where usually it's somebody in their early 20s, has wrestled on the indies for a few years and is going into like WWE developmental. That's where he's at. He's at that point where he knows all the basic stuff. He knows a lot of even more complex stuff, but what he doesn't have is the age or the seasoning that training at the Nightmare Factory or wherever AEW talent's going to train now and showing up on Dark and performing on Dark, all of those things are going to help make him into a better superstar. But he's going to be another one that, like Hook, who's going to be in his early 20s, and they're going to make this guy a star because he's tall. He's over 6 feet tall. Right now he's skinny, but he can fill out and just be like a good lean, be lean. And he can wrestle his ass off. People like him. He's a good-looking kid. Like, he sells well when he's getting beat up. Everybody like has sympathy for him because he's like, oh my God, this handsome guy's getting beat up. Like, it's working. Whatever he's doing is working on the independent level, and they see something in him. So if they can develop that into a talent that's ready for AEW TV in a few years, that's a great value. And it would be so cool to see, like, I want this to happen more. I don't want to say just 16-year-olds, but like I want to hear about, there was an independent show and Tony Khan heard about some guy that wrestles in, Podunk, Kentucky or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they send somebody down there and they're like, we've heard of you. We want to offer you a developmental contract. And it's like a big deal at this independent show. If they can keep doing this, I think it would be such a cool outreach thing to the indies out there of like, yeah, man, if you work hard and you get yourself noticed, AEW is going to come calling with some kind of deal, whether it's per appearance or whatever it is. Like, right now, with the way WWE is going, they want to hire basketball players and football players, gymnasts, anybody but an independent wrestler. So if you want to be right now, if you want to make it to WWE, don't even tell them you're a wrestler. Tell them you trained for Ninja Warrior or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, anything. They're not looking for right now.
Eva Marie sent me.
Exactly. Yes, they're not looking for wrestlers. They're looking for athletes that they can mold to wrestle in the WWE style, which is very, very samey. Everybody wrestles the same style. So if you want to be a WWE superstar, that's the route you have to take. If you want to be a wrestler, you can see with what happened with Nick Wayne. If you want to be a professional wrestler, keep wrestling, get yourself noticed, and you can make it. Not everybody's going to make it, but you have to find. Ian Brock Lesnar said this in an interview with Pat McAfee. Was it yesterday? So it's not about the moves or this or that. It's about finding a way to set yourself apart from everybody else and get over. And this kid did that at 16 years old and got noticed. So that just shows you anybody on any roster, wherever you are, WWE, AEW, if you're a lower card person, you have to find a way.
Yeah.
Even though you've already made it, you have to find a way to get noticed. So I don't know, dude. There's ups and downs to all this stuff. It's exciting. It seems like WWE's finally acknowledged AEW as a threat. It finally seems like they're taking this stuff seriously and want to sign better talent. But also, if you're just signing this talent to throw them into the same system, you're just gonna, like, Cody Rhodes is gonna come in, feud with Roman Reigns, lose 3 matches in a row, and then what?
I was gonna say, there's so much talent still there that's being wasted. Like, until I made that post the other day about freaking T-Bar getting a new music and everything, I fucking forgot he worked there.
Or Veer Mahan.
He's getting somehow, some way to
he's coming. He's coming, supposedly.
He's still on the lost plane. What can I tell you?
Yeah, so it's, if they're just gonna take these guys and just put them in, Stone Cold in this WWE setting feels like it's gonna be really weird. The Rock in this kind of setting is weird. Cody Rhodes coming back is the weirdest of them all, though, because it's like you left WWE because you thought things were bad internally, and now they're even worse internally.
Yeah.
Like, so many more people are unhappy, and you're just going to come in and go, well, I'm making 3 times your salary, so I'm happier than you.
If I'm Mustafa Ali, I'm punching his ass out the minute he walks past me.
I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't just go up, like, why wouldn't you, like, Go up to Vince McMahon and sneeze on him or something if you're Mustafa Ali. You know what I mean?
Just
Like
do all his pet peeves in the
come over with a cup of coffee and dunk his tie in the coffee and shit like that. You know what I mean? Just like little petty shit.
Put all the hand sanitizers, line them up all unevenly on his desk, something.
Oh man. Yeah, it's so weird, man.
And be like, hey, I just slept 12 hours.
He doesn't give two shits about that.
Well, isn't that one of his weird pet peeves? He doesn't sleep.
Yeah, but like I said, it's just, and then again, which is just, I mean, I know we're at the top of the hour and we haven't even talked about Saturday, but again, another stupid mistake that McMahon is making and the WWE is making. Why isn't he being showcased on Saturday? Freaking him and Mansoor's match.
Oh yeah,
was fucking unbelievable.
Yeah,
the last time they were there.
We've got I can't even call them a pay-per-view anymore. We've got a premium live event coming up on Saturday,
right.
Which I don't know how premium it is when the subscription to Peacock is free with my cable. So I don't pay anything extra. It's not premium.
$4.99 with ads.
Premium means I have to pay a premium to get a premium product. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, I'm not even, I mean, I barely, if you didn't mention it, I would have totally forgot the Elimination Chamber was coming up on Saturday. I'm not excited for, I don't really usually watch these Saudi shows just because, like, I don't know, it's gross to me, dude. Like, I get
it, but I'm just like, I don't either, but like, you know, I have no choice. It's getting watched in my house because I can't, I'm not teaching my kids that shit yet. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. You can.
There's only one that can kind of get into the history books about that, but you know, nowadays, what books are even brought into a classroom anyway?
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, that's a tough road to walk. But just
so,
I don't know.
Like,
I'll watch highlights or something. But
you know, but like whatever. But like again, very very ridiculous factor that you're not utilizing that talent over there at all either.
Right.
The women's matches are pretty much more exciting than the men's matches right now, basically.
Kind of
in WWE,
on Saturday, on Saturday show.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I guess we didn't dip into. Again, Steve wasn't here to keep us on track. Elimination Chamber, they announced Monday in another one of those therapy segments with Alexa Bliss. Apparently, she's cured, but the cure is that she has to carry the doll with her all the time, or else she's going to turn back into a bad girl. I don't really know. I don't care. Like, whatever.
But that Lily, it's a new Lily with the cotton remnants of the old Lily inside.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why couldn't it just be the same Lily?
Because Charlotte destroyed it.
Oh, right. I don't care enough. Like, I can't bring myself to care about a doll.
General hospital aspects. You have to think like it's a soap opera to get, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like, okay, so that means it's Tommy Westphal looking at his snow globe. Everything exists within Alexa, within the doll.
Yeah.
Tommy Westphal is such a deep reference. Don't even bother looking it up, kids. Anyway, that's a 40, 50, almost 50-year-old reference to TV shows that nobody's watched.
No. Well, thanks. I'm almost 42. Thanks a lot, asshole.
No. Everybody has. You know what? It's. I'm wrong because technically, by Tommy Westphal staring into that snow globe and all the things that they mentioned on the show, most television shows technically take place within the snow globe that Tommy Westphal is holding in the last episode of Emergency? Anyway. You guys can fall down that rabbit hole later. Alexa's in the Elimination Chamber, and I cared so little about it. I told you about a 40-year-old TV show. Who's going to win this? I don't even know who else is in. Who else is in this thing? I don't care. I really.
The women's one or the men one?
Either. Like I couldn't tell you.
So the women one has Alexa Bliss, Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
Liv Morgan.
Okay.
Nikki ASH and Rhea Ripley, and now. Bianca Belair won last night on Raw that she is in the gauntlet match. So she is the last chamber opening for the women's match.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is not for a title. It's for a #1 contenders match.
Correct.
Is it for Mania?
Yeah, to be challenging either Becky or Lita.
Just wanted to make sure that was.
And the
what do we
men's
think about
one
this?
is
Yeah,
for
go
the
ahead.
title.
Right, the men's one, which is Bobby Lashley defending his
Brock
championship against
Lesnar,
Lesnar,
Riddle.
Rollins,
Yep.
Theory, Riddle, Styles. Okay.
Yep. And
We'll
then
go through this real quick, and then we'll
Brock
call
wins,
it a day.
LOL.
Just kind of run through the card.
they added last night. Now Rey Mysterio is going against The Miz.
Right.
Trying to think. Charlotte and Naomi are taking on. I'm sorry, Charlotte and Sonya are taking on Ronda and Naomi.
Drew McIntyre is fighting Madcap Moss in a Who Gives a Shit match.
Oh boy.
The SmackDown Tag Team titles: Usos versus the Viking Raiders.
That should be fun.
That one I'm looking forward to.
That could be a good match. I mean, I don't know. Nothing. I mean, that might be good. Everything else looks like it might be all right. Like, I don't know. Nothing's terribly exciting about this.
I wonder when
there's nothing really to really write home.
No, I mean, so what do we think? Ray with Dominic versus Miz with Maurice. Who comes out on top on that one?
I think Miz.
I was thinking Miz as well.
Mania feud with the father and son.
Yeah. Ronda and Naomi against Charlotte and Sonya.
There's no way Ronda Rousey is losing in Saudi
I feel
Arabia.
like she can't lose that match. Women's
She's
elimination.
huge with the army and everything.
I mean, she is
with the military over there. There's no way.
Yeah. Women's elimination chamber: Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Bianca, Doudrop, Nikki Ash, Alexa Bliss. What do we got?
I say Bianca.
I'm gonna say Alexa.
Yeah, I feel like I would have said Bianca until they announced Alexa.
Yeah.
So now I'm feeling they're leaning towards Alexa. But match quality wise, I want Bianca in there because
Correct.
I think Bianca Becky would be the better match. And I think
there's a story there.
Yeah, and with all the crap that's been going on, like Bianca deserved better. She should win that title again. Anyway.
That'd be a good way to cap off the SummerSlam timeline.
Right.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre against Madcap Moss. Falls count anywhere. I assume Drew McIntyre wins.
Hey, maybe since they're in Saudi Arabia, he impales Madcap.
Oh, maybe Madcap wins by throwing Drew McIntyre off a roof.
Hey, we know from WCW.
Right. I know what's going to happen. Madcap Moss is going to tell the Saudi government that Drew McIntyre is a journalist, and then the government's going to execute him.
They're going to behead him on
Madcap,
TV.
Right. And then Madcap Moss wins by default. I'm sorry. Did I tell you?
Don't you mean by decap?
Yeah.
I was going to say he was going to decap Drew.
It's by decapitation.
And Madcap Moss. Right at
Did
the
you
end,
hear what Autumn
Madcap
say that
Moss.
again, Autumn?
Decap by Madcap.
Yeah, that's what I was
Well,
thinking.
what's this? I want John Moxley or face Vince.
I'd lose. I would just tap out before the match started. But
yeah,
I just feel so Madcap Moss, I feel like as the beheading's about to happen, he would tell one more joke. He'd go, "Hey Drew, do you take your coffee regular or decapitation?" And then they cut his head off. And then
Knock on wood that this happens.
Peacock subscriptions would triple.
She said, "Knock on wood that this happens."
Oh my God! Yes, let's just commit another atrocity in Saudi Arabia. It wasn't Goldberg, Undertaker.
Oh, we forgot about Goldberg. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Roman Reigns versus Goldberg in another Who Gives a Shit match because Goldberg is. Listen. There's some sort of Saudi Arabia magic for Goldberg because he did beat the Fiend and win the title in Saudi Arabia. So I don't know, bro.
And just to fuck with Reigns.
Oh yeah, but maybe Brock tries to mess with him, but it backfires and Reigns wins anyway. I don't know, dude. I can't see a window where Goldberg beats Roman Reigns right before WrestleMania.
I can't see a window where Goldberg beats anybody, period, anymore.
Yeah, but shit, they're paying him so much money.
Nope.
No, I mean, listen, Roman Reigns should retain leading into WrestleMania, which should lead into Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns.
There should be a rule in general.
Win the title, and he goes and wins the title.
There should be a rule in general, like, you know, do
Goldberg
not let Goldberg into Saudi Arabia, and it has nothing to do with anything except the bad wrestling.
It's like Superman with the yellow sun.
I mean, listen, I thought it was weird they let him in the country because he's Jewish. I thought they weren't going to let him in. Well,
they are okay with that because he's an icon, but I'm sorry.
We'll skip the political stuff on this one. It's just weird.
I have nothing to do, but I can't with Goldberg. I'm married to a Jew. I have nothing, but just
Usos Viking Raiders for the tag title. I feel like the Usos. I mean, you think they're going to lose the tag titles? I feel like they're going to keep them.
No, there's no way they don't.
Yeah, I don't see that happening either.
Becky Lynch, Lita. There's no Lita's not coming back to wrestle a champion schedule like that. That's just not.
I could see her going to Mania. I mean, it's a possibility.
Maybe it just seems so like this Becky Lynch heel turn has done nothing for. It's like when Seth came back. Seth's done this twice. He had an injury and came back, and everybody cheered for him. And then they turned him heel in the promo.
Yeah,
and they did that to Becky. She came back at a hero's welcome, and then she was a heel again. And it's like nobody wants to see her heel, so the program is just not interesting. Like, I don't know. Like
the whole crowd's like conflicted.
Yeah. This Becky, like, I just don't know. The bad guy Becky Lynch thing doesn't really do it for me. But whatever. Becky Lynch is gonna win. And then
give her credit.
The Elimination Chamber. Bobby Lashley's defending his title against Lesnar, Rollins, Austin Theory, Riddle, and AJ Styles.
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
That would be a motherfucker, wouldn't it?
What?
That's what's happening.
Oh, I thought you were being serious.
Yeah, like,
what do you think? That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Brock Lesnar's winning.
What do you think, Ryan?
I think Brock Lesnar without even blinking.
You can't bet against Brock, man. Shit.
What? Autumn, you have something very important to say. What
Mom just said. This isn't a prediction. This is a spoiler.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I mean, listen, if we're I don't watch the pro, like, I haven't watched WWE regularly. I'll tune in, I'll watch clips or whatever, but I'm not sitting down and watching a 3-hour Raw and 2-hour SmackDown every week. I'm just not. Who is out there to face Bobby Lashley that's an interesting WrestleMania opponent? You know, it just doesn't see.
Yeah, he doesn't. They took Big E away from him.
We've already done Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I guess we could run back Brock and Bobby. But you know what? But Brock is on his way to face Roman. So I really don't know. Like,
that match is already set.
It feels like we're just gonna get title versus title, Reigns versus Brock, winner take all. That's it, right? Like, I mean, I don't see any other way out of this.
And the storyline is set for Brock to win. Like,
yeah. Right, it's all set up like everything, but you know, we've said this before. This is the most logical thing WWE could do, and then they don't do it.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they're going to. I'm just saying logically.
Yeah.
If you're following down the steps, Brock should
you would think so.
You would hope.
Yeah. The only other thing is, what if in the middle of the match or right towards the end of the match, you know, Cody Rhodes' theme song plays and he runs out and all of a sudden wins the title in the Elimination Chamber.
Or he intercepts somebody like Edge.
Right? Yeah, he could do like Edge. Look, remember when Edge took out Kofi Kingston and threw himself and put himself in the chamber? Yeah, maybe we do something like that. I don't know. I still, the thought of Cody Rhodes going back, like,
that's making me my stomach churn. No,
it was like when Jordan played for the Washington Wizards. Just didn't feel right.
I'm kind of hoping this whole thing is because they want to stay home with their kid for a little while.
Yeah, let's just do that. That'd be nice. Let's assume that. And then, like, by next week's podcast, we're gonna look like complete assholes, and he's gonna already be on TV. Yeah, I know. So we'll save this conversation for.
We can never look like assholes. What are you talking about?
Us, never, ever.
We're not Sarah from Nebraska.
Oh wow. Deep cuts for long-time listeners.
I don't know if that bitch is still a long-time listener. Who cares?
No, I know. But I'm saying for everybody else who might be a long-time listener, they
It'll
have
be
to,
her first
they might get
podcast
that
back,
right.
and she's like, "What?"
Yeah. I
Like,
just don't know who
just
takes the time out of their day
chimed
to
in right
email
at the end,
podcast.
like, "What?"
Yeah, I just don't understand the whole thing of like emailing a podcast. I disagree. Well, thanks for your opinion. Anyway, we've given
Like
people
that Family
15
Guy
minutes
skit
extra
about
content.
Canadians being polite.
Yeah,
Fallout. You disagree.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was like, a drive-by disagreeing. But we gave everybody 15 minutes of extra time here.
Yeah.
I guess we should probably wrap up. This was fun. I want to thank you guys for sticking with us, and I want to thank
Hopefully
Ryan and
Steve's
Kat
right.
for sticking around too. Yeah, hopefully Steve is all right and everything that's going on over there. We still don't know, and not that I would put out Steve's private info, but if he sent us a message saying everything was okay, I'd let you know. We have not heard from him yet, so we'll keep you posted as to what's going on with that. Well, I'm sure Steve will be back next week, barring anything completely disastrous. So just want to thank you guys for tuning in. I see a couple of you stuck with us all the way to the end on the live stream, which is pretty cool. Once again, thank you for commenting and being part of our live show. Our live streams go up every Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Eastern Time. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we're on Twitter /Periscope. Most of the places you look for the user account. Tag me a date @tag me a date, no spaces. It's all one word. On Twitch, it's twitch.tv/war report. That's all one word again, no spaces, war report. Say on YouTube, it's tag me a date. You go through the YouTube search, you type in tag me a date, you'll find our channel. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. You'll be notified when we go live, when we upload a video. We go live, as I said, 6 p.m. Tuesday evenings. We'll be back next week for another edition. If you would prefer to listen to an audio version instead of tuning into the live stream, you've got your choice of podcast apps like Stitcher, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play Podcasts, or Apple Podcasts. All you have to do is search for The War Report. It will come up. There is another War Report podcast that started back in 2021 that talks wrestling. We are not that podcast. Make sure that when you click on the icon for the appropriate podcast, that the icon says tag me a date. It will say right on there, because I made the graphic. It will say the War Report, and it will have tag me a date on there, either at the top or somewhere within there. So just look for it. Make sure you're on the right one. And of course, if you have friends that are wrestling fans, let them know about the show. Tell them we go live. We post your questions. We post your comments up on the screen. We interact with the community, and we would love more people to jump in the chat with Tara and jump in the chat with everybody else that's in there and express your opinions on this whole wrestling deal. So please do, let your friends know. If they want to watch the videos, they can go to, YouTube or Twitch. If they want to listen to the podcast under the appropriate podcast app. But the more the merrier, the more people that listen, the further our reach goes. And, we just want to reach out to as many people as possible with this wrestling show. So if you've got friends that are fans, spread the word. And with that, thank you for watching. We'll be back next week for another edition of the War Report Pro Wrestling Podcast, brought to you by Tag Me a Date. I forgot, I actually have to end the show today because Steve's not here. Too sweet. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for tuning in.